Hi guys, welcome. Today I am bringing you an advanced practice. Grab a couple of blocks. Also have a strap if your hamstrings are tight. We're gonna get started straight away. Grab your blocks, create a little supine chest opener here. So one block underneath the shoulder blades. If you have the second block underneath your head, otherwise use a cushion or something. I'm just gonna start to work into the upper back. Do whatever feels comfortable with your legs here. And then just make sure you have your strap within easy reach as well. And so obviously with an advanced practice, I'm gonna throw a few more challenging things your way today. So don't feel like you need to take every single option or every single arm balance. If you do feel up for it, great. Lots of fun to be had today. So just pay attention to how your body's feeling. Feel free to skip things out. Or if there's other things that you wish to add in as well, by all means go for that. And I know that at times, maybe even more so when you're practicing from home rather than at a studio when you might have friends or colleagues around you, but sometimes yoga can get a little bit serious. And that's fine, and I get it, but let's see if we can have a little bit of fun today with this practice. Even if there's things that you can't do, can you approach them with a playful spirit? And this is a time as adults where we get to play. We get to move and breathe. So don't worry so much about how things look or whether or not you can fully do a pose. But can you approach each sequence and each practice with that sense of curiosity? And we'll just take 5 more breaths here. Go ahead and bend your knees, soles of the feet on the floor. You'll take the block or prop that's underneath your head, move it off to the side, and then interlace your hands back behind your head. You guys have done these with me before. We're just gonna lean back over the block and then sit up. So it's almost like you were doing a crunch, but think less about your belly. Think less about the core and more about mobilizing through your thoracic spine, the upper back. So a lot of the kind of peak poses that we're going to work into today work with pretty deep twists. And a lot of the time what really holds us back in a twist is the limited motion that we have through our upper back, right? And we're created that way. It doesn't have as much mobility as other parts of the spine. But that doesn't mean that we can't kind of work into that space, undo some of that tightness, particularly if you've been hunched over a desk or something like that. It can be pretty tight through the upper back. All right, let's just do one more. And release. We're gonna come off the block and lie all the way down on our backs. And from here, you'll grab your strap if you're working with it. Set the sole of the left foot on the floor and the strap will come around the ball of your right foot. And then you're gonna pull down on the strap as you drive the foot up into the strap. Now, if you have pretty tight hamstrings, I would suggest bending and straightening that knee a little bit. Don't feel like you have to kind of just hold in this strong stretch straight away. If it's okay on your lower back, go ahead and extend the left leg long. So, and I guess this is why it's kind of, an advanced class here as well, is we often give all the attention in this pose to the right leg, that lifted leg, and rightly so, there's a lot going on there. But I also want you to bring your focus to the left leg. Notice if your left toes spin out, like if you just externally rotate through the leg. And then try to bring the left toes and face them directly towards the ceiling. Drive that left heel down. Can you even out through the hips? And you're really using your breath to help you soften into this shape, into this pose. Taking both ends of the strap, if you're using it, into your right hand. Bring your left hand onto your left hip. Don't let that hip lift, and just take the leg out to the right. And if you do feel like the left hip wants to lift, then just rebend the knee and place the sole of the foot down. Again, that left leg is still in neutral. Continue to apply a little bit of pressure or resistance with that strap for your right leg. And then draw the leg back up through center. Take both ends of the strap into the left hand. Bring your right thumb and index finger into your right hip crease. Now, go slow here. So I want you to keep that right hip grounded. Keep your left leg in neutral. Now, this is important for where we're going today, right? So as you start to take the right leg over to the left, your left foot again might want to roll out or in. Try to keep it in neutral. And from your left heel and to the crown of the head, can you find a nice long line in your body? So you're stretching through your outer right thigh, your outer right hip, all the muscles that attach to the IT band. Now, keeping the left leg, again, still in neutral, take your right arm out to the right. Don't turn your head yet, but allow your right leg to come all the way over into the twist. It may not come down to the floor because we're still keeping those left toes facing towards the ceiling. Right shoulder blade starts to ground down. And then for the last couple of breaths, fully drop into the twist. Maybe you're turning your gaze over the right shoulder. Now the outer left foot is likely on the mat. So I know that that is kind of slow and tedious, but it's going to be important for where we're going to end up today in the practice. Coming all the way back through center, place the right foot down onto the mat, strap around the ball of the left foot to begin with. Maybe you bend and straighten that left leg a few times. It always feels pretty good to me. And when you're ready, you can extend the right leg long. So you're driving the ball of the left foot up into the strap as you pull the strap down. Drive your right heel down into the mat. Toes curling back towards the shin. So right hand can stay on the right hip. We're going to keep the hips grounding down as the left leg moves out to the left. If that right hip starts to lift, you'll just rebend the knee and place the foot down. Coming all the way back through center, both ends of the strap into your right hand, left thumb and index finger into your left hip crease. So right leg stays neutral as the left leg starts to pass over the right, and it won't go very far. That's totally fine. And I'm not turning my head yet. I'm not really working into the twist. And then take your left arm out, allow the left shoulder blade to stay down. You're gonna come a little bit deeper into the twist. Keep the right leg still in neutral. So it's a big twist through your upper body. And then for the last couple of breaths, you can allow that leg to go all the way over to the right. If you like to look over the left shoulder, go for it. And come all the way back through center. You can remove the strap and place it off to the side. Hug the knees into your chest, give them a nice big squeeze, maybe circle out through your hips, maybe through your ankles, whatever you need here. So there's going to be two options for our core work today. You're either going to set up your yoga bicycles, which, you know, if you've practiced with me enough, you know that we're not like overly pulling the knees in, right? The knees will stay stacked on top of the hips and we're rotating through the trunk, through the core more. So you can either take that option or a more advanced option if you want to try it today is bring your arms down alongside you. You're finding a hollow body hold, extending the legs out. Now you're going to lift the legs up towards the ceiling, circle them around towards the face, and then you rotate coming down onto the right hip as the legs extend towards the front. And then we come back the other way, so we sweep the legs kind of back towards us like we were doing plow, lift up the hips, and then come onto the left hip. And we just continue to move through our core work. Now, if you're with me, these are sometimes called like around the worlds. Obviously your hands are stabilizing you a little bit on the mat, but just try not to overly use the push of your hands or any kind of momentum. So you really want to be using your obliques. If you're in your yoga bicycles, again, less momentum, more control. This is nice, strong core work, setting us up for where we're going to be going. And if you're doing around the world and you're like, I don't know what this movement is, it doesn't really make sense to me, you can come back to your yoga bicycles. About another 20 seconds here. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hug your knees into your chest. Give them a nice big squeeze. You'll rock up and down the length of your spine. We're going to come into tabletop position. Once you're in your tabletop, hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, just drop your belly in cow pose and hang out here for a moment. Stretch the belly. Hopefully that feels pretty good. Spin your fingers around to face your knees. We'll take cat-cows here. As you inhale, drop belly, lift your sternum, lift your sitting bones, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Press the floor away from you, round your upper back, look towards the navel. Again, inhale through cow. Exhale, cat. Again. One more cycle here. Inhale. And exhale. Find a neutral spine. Spin your fingers out towards the sides of the mat. And then either just move side to side. You could take little semicircle motions, just getting into your wrists, your fingers, forearms. You know, and some people need a little bit of extra time in the warm-up for the wrists. So if you know that's you, you could maybe hit pause, spend a little bit of extra time. If you're coming with me, last thing, you're gonna spin onto the tops of your hands, fingers face back towards you again. You can tuck the toes, pull your hips back towards your heels, stretch out through the forearms. And as and when you're ready, make your way to downward facing dog. If you need to shake out the wrists or shake out the arms or anything like that, go for it. Downward facing dog. So for this first dog today, really want you to focus on your hamstrings. So getting your heels towards the floor, and that might just mean that you widen your stance a lot. So you could step the feet wider than the mat. Try to get your heels all the way down, and if that's easy, you can pull your toes back towards your shins. So nice deep stretch through the back of the legs. Make sure you're really spreading through your fingers, pressing down firmly through the finger pads, the finger knuckles. In particular, your thumb and index fingers. And then firm your forearms away from the mat. Imagine you were squeezing a block between your forearms. So feel that energy of your arms into your shoulders. And then lengthen through your spine as the hips lift up and back a little bit more. 3 more breaths here. Walk your feet back to hips width distance if you've separated them. Walk your hands back towards your feet. You can circle out through your wrists a couple of times as you hang out in Uttanasana. Maybe it's a ragdoll position for you. Hands back to the floor, walk out. Coming straight into plank position here. So setting up your plank, pull up through the navel, squeeze your butt, pull the chest forwards a little bit. Option to stay here or hover the right foot, and then draw your right knee to your nose. Keep your arms straight as you round the upper back. Pull the belly in more. Stay here or swing your right leg out to the right, so right knee towards right tricep. We're not coming back through dog for these, right? So in your plank still, swing your right knee to your left tricep. And then guide your knee down towards your left wrist. Pull it back up to the tricep. 2 more times, to the wrist. Pull it up to the tricep. Last one, to the wrist. Pull it back up. Plank position, re-extend the right leg. Downward facing dog. Inhale through your nose. Open mouth, exhale. Shifting into plank position. This time hovering the left leg. Arms straight and strong, knee to nose, pull it in, round, keep shifting forwards. Stay in the plank, just take left knee to left upper arm. Stay in the plank, take left knee to right upper arm. And then we slide to the wrist, pull it back up. 2 more times, slide to the wrist, pull it up. Last one, slide and tap. Pull it back up, plank pose, downward facing dog. Inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale. Shift into plank position. Lower all the way onto your belly. Fingertip cobras, hands wider than the mat. Inhale, peel the chest up. Try to squeeze your hands back towards the hips. Press down through the tops of the feet. And release. 2 more, inhale, roll up. And release. Last one, inhale. You're gonna hold at the top. Drop your left shoulder, look over your right. Coming back through center, drop right shoulder, looking over the left. Back through center, lower all the way to your belly. Tuck toes, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Walk your feet all the way to your hands. Again, take a forward fold. Maybe it's ragdoll. Just allow this to be soft. Release your arms, press into your feet. Begin to roll yourself all the way up to standing. And at the top, roll your shoulders back and down. And gather your hands into prayer and allow the eyes to close. Perhaps setting an intention for your practice here today. Inhale deeply. Open mouth, exhale. Release your arms and allow your eyes to open. Inhale, sweep your arms up, big stretch, reach up, maybe you even look up. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana, soft bend in the knees. Inhale, lengthen the spine, strong legs, strong belly. Step back to plank pose. So we're gonna do this again. Right knee to nose, stay in your plank, swing it out to the right, swing it to the left. Just one time, slide the right knee to your left wrist. Pull it back up, find your way into plank, lower to your belly. Inhale, cobra, peel the chest up. And release, downward facing dog, maybe push up, high plank, downward facing dog. Lift your right leg, keep the right hip square here, so all 5 of the toes, the right toes face down for the time being. Pull up through the belly and then hug your outer left hip in. All you're gonna do is spin the right toes out to the right, and then staying in dog, take your right leg forwards. So you're reaching it like one day you could stamp your right foot next to your right hand. And then you're gonna take the leg back, bend the knee, open up through the hip. Lift your left forearm away from the mat. Take another full breath in. Exhale, knee to nose, step the right foot forwards. Step the left foot forwards. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Rise to stand, reach up. Hands to prayer. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Step back, plank pose. Hover the left leg, knee to nose. Left knee, left upper arm. Take it to the right arm. Slide it to the wrist. Pull it back up, plank pose. Lower to your belly. Cobra pose, peel the chest up. And release, downward facing dog. Maybe push up, plank, down dog. Lift your left leg, keep the hips square. Hug the outer right hip in. Keep lifting the forearms away from the mat. And then spin your left toes out to the left. Start to take that left leg forwards, 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 as far as you can. And then you're gonna bring the leg back, bend the knee, open up through the hip. Take another full breath in. Exhale, knee to nose, step the left foot forwards, step the right foot forwards. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Rise to stand, reach up. Hands to prayer. Inhale as you reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Step back, plank pose. Little different this time. Hover the right foot. Spin the right toes out to the right. Bend your right knee, squeeze your knee to your upper arm. Stay here or take a little mini chaturanga. Push back up, everyone plank pose. Straight to dog or lower through a vinyasa. Downward facing dog. So guys, just be really smart in this practice today. If you're gonna take every variation of chaturanga I throw out there, maybe skip some of them out in the vinyasas. Maybe you modify with knees, chest, chin. You don't need to do all of it, particularly if you're feeling any kind of funkiness in the shoulders, right? So just be smart. Bend the knees, inhale, look forwards, travel to the top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Rise to stand, reach up. Hands to prayer. Again, inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Step back, plank pose. Hover the left foot. Spin the left toes out. Bend the left knee, squeeze the knee to your upper arm. Stay here, a little mini chaturanga. Straighten back up, plank pose. And then if you like, vinyasa or straight to downward facing dog. And there might be moments throughout practice today where you notice that you hold your breath or you grit your teeth. So where you can be soft, Really allow yourself to enjoy that. Bend the knees, inhale, look forwards, travel to the top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Rise to stand, reach up. Hands to prayer. One regular Surya A. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, chaturanga. Through your back bend. Downward facing dog. We're about to move into Surya Namaskar B. Keeping it pretty traditional today with the Surya B so that you can just start to drop into your body and breath. You don't have to overthink anything. Bend the knees, jump forwards. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Rise to stand, reach up. Hands to prayer. We're going on the breath. Bend the knees. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, Chaturanga. Through your back bend. Downward facing dog. Spin the left toes out, step the right foot up, and inhale brings you up. Warrior one. Exhale, hands down, same breath out, Chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Downward facing dog, spin the right toes out, step the left foot up. Inhale, reach up, warrior one. Exhale, hands down, same breath out, Chaturanga. Inhale, back bend. Downward facing dog and breathe. So if my pace doesn't suit you, all good. Maybe mute me for a bit as you work through on your own breath. But I want to try and keep this up, breath to movement, just lifting the heart rate a little. Bend the knees, inhale, look forwards, travel to the top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Chair pose, sit low, reach the arms. Rise to stand, Tadasana. Again, inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, Vinyasa. Spin the left toes out, step the right foot up. Inhale, reach up, warrior one. Exhale, hands down, straight through Chaturanga. Inhale and exhale. Spin the right toes out, step the left foot up. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, release, hands down, Vinyasa. Holding in downward facing dog. If at any point you need to exhale through the mouth, go for it. Bend the knees, inhale, look forwards, travel to the top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Chair pose, sit low, reach your arms up. Rise to stand, Tadasana. Last one, inhale, chair. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, Chaturanga. Through the back bend. Downward facing dog, spin the left toes out, step the right foot up. Inhale, reach up, warrior one. Exhale, hands down, Vinyasa. Spin the right toes out, step the left foot up. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands down, Vinyasa. Downward facing dog, breathe. Bend the knees, inhale, look forwards, travel to the top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Chair pose, sit low, reach your arms up. Rise to stand, Tadasana. Take your feet hips width distance apart, hands to your hips, bend the knees a little. You're gonna fold forwards. Keep your right hand where it is. Take your peace fingers around your left big toe. Now, if this isn't gonna feel good with the right hand where it is, you could place it on the floor or maybe even on a block. Be really mindful not to lock out this right leg. So if your knee is going further back than your calves and thigh, then you really need to have a little micro bend in that knee. And then all you're gonna do is try to plug this left thigh bone up into the hip socket and hover the left foot off the floor. So I find it a little bit easier to have the hand out in front of me, stabilizing me. And then from here, you're gonna take the leg out to the left any amount. Keep hugging your outer right hip in. If you wanna play with the balance more, you can hover the right hand. Maybe bring the right hand onto your shin. Draw the left leg back in and place it down. Pedal out through the feet a couple of times. All right, changing sides. So right peace fingers around the big toe. Left hand can be at your hip or on the floor. Hug or plug the right thigh bone up into the hip socket. Hover that right foot. And then start to take the leg out to the right. Pull your outer left hip in. Think of extending through your spine, through the head. Maybe you float that bottom hand, the left hand, away from the mat. And bring the right foot all the way back down. Heel toe the feet back together. Inhale as you lengthen. Exhale, fold. Bakasana. Hands down, draw the knees to the upper arms. Not staying for a super long time, so just stay within the arm balance. Feel that spread of the fingers. Squeeze your heels to your butt. Take another full breath in. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, back bend. Downward facing dog. Shift into plank position. Hover the right foot. Spin the right toes out. Bend the right knee, squeeze it to your upper arm. You're gonna take a little chaturanga. Re-straighten the arms, knee to nose, step up, high lunge. Pause, breathe. I know that was a lot. I'm gonna add in a twist here, right arm back, left arm forwards. So trying to stack the shoulders on the hips. Reach from fingertip to fingertip and continue to bend deeply into the right knee. Feel like the crown of your head is being pulled towards the ceiling. So you're lengthening through the sides of your neck. Inhale, reach both arms up. Open up, warrior two. So find your feet, maybe even have a little look at them. And then interlace the hands out in front of you. Press the palms away and then reach the arms up. Allow the shoulder blades to lift. Again, continue to lengthen through the left and right sides of your torso. Maybe close your eyes. Re-extend your arms, straighten through the front leg. Trikonasana, reach forwards. Right hand to your shin or to a block. We're gonna hold just in a pretty traditional Trikonasana today, unless there's something calling you. Continue to stretch through the right hamstrings. Continue to lengthen through the crown of the head. So this sense of The head pulling forwards while that left heel is still grounding down. And then we're spiraling the chest towards the right. Maybe you can just lighten the load in the right hand a little. Ardha Chandrasana, half moon, right hand out in front of you. Set up a strong half moon to begin with. So maybe hand is on the floor or the block. Try not to just drop your head. Hug your outer right hip in. And then we're kind of just building on here. You're going to bring the left leg out to the left. So similar to what we did in our Uttanasana and in our down dog. Maybe you're taking left peace fingers around the big toe. You could also bend the left knee and hold onto the shin. From here, maybe you hover the right hand. Right hand comes back down. Extend the left leg back. Step all the way back, warrior two. Flip the front palm, inhale, reverse. Hands to the floor, three-legged dog. Sweep your right leg up and back. Exhale, right knee, left upper arm, shift forwards, and then extend the right leg out, but stay on the ball of the back foot. So you're in a plank position. Your right leg's just underneath you here. Keep pulling the sternum forwards. Press back through the left heel. Press your outer right foot down. You might get this nice extra stretch through your outer thigh. Slow and controlled here. Bend your elbows. Take a little chaturanga. Straighten the arms back up. Fallen triangle, left foot down. Reach the left arm up. You can reach forwards here. Spiral your chest, your hips towards the ceiling. Last full breath in. Exhale, left hand down, reach the right leg up and back. Bend the knee, open up through the hip. Stay, or if you like, flip the dog. Last breath here. Exhale, release, vinyasa. Maybe hovering that back leg as you shift through downward facing dog. Shift forwards into plank position. Hover the left foot, spin the left toes out. Bend the knee, pull the knee to your upper arm. Take a little mini chaturanga. Press back up, knee to nose, step through, high lunge, come on up. So find the foundation in your legs, in your hips and pelvis. Then we add on the twist, right arm forwards, left arm back. Make sure that left knee is still tracking in line with the second and third toe. And the crown of the head is still lifting towards the ceiling. Inhale, reach both arms up. We're going to open up a warrior two. So change the feet, change the legs. Get settled. You'll then interlace the hands out in front of you, change which thumb's on top, press the palms away from you, and then allow the arms to lift up. Re-extend your arms, straighten through the front leg. Trikonasana, just going to slide that front foot back a little. Find your way into triangle pose. And so often, particularly when we're working in an advanced practice, we want to add something fancy or fresh or new onto every single pose. But sometimes the best teacher is just to come back to those familiar shapes, refine them. Can you learn something new from this shape? Maybe getting a little lighter in the left hand. Ardha Chandrasana, half moon, hand out in front of you. Make sure it's far enough away from your left foot that you're not kind of collapsing down into the side here. So you want this lifting up, and then drive your right heel back. Hug your outer left hip in. We're just going to take the right leg out to the right. Maybe you'll find the big toe, maybe you'll bend the knee and catch the shin instead. I find this super challenging to do without hyperextending my left leg. So if you've got a similar body to me, I understand what you're going through. I'm going to take that right leg all the way back, half moon, step back, warrior two. Flip the front palm, inhale, reverse. Three-legged dog, hands down, reach the left leg up and back. Left knee to your left upper arm. Extend the leg out to the right. Stay on the ball of the right foot. So yes, we will eventually come into this fallen triangle pose, but for the time being, I want you to keep the hips square so that right hip is wrapping down towards the floor. You're in this plank shape, straightening the arms, driving the outer edge of the left foot down, and then the crown of the head shifts forwards as your right heel presses back. Stay here or take a tiny, slow, controlled chaturanga. And then allow the right foot to come down. Fallen triangle, open up through the hip. And oftentimes, myself included, I don't like to stay in that kind of twisted plank because it's hard. Last full breath in. Exhale, right hand down. We're going to sweep the left leg up and back, bend the knee, open up through the hip, and carefully flip the dog. Exhale, release, vinyasa. Downward facing dog. So if you need, take a sip of water, take a little break, towel off. So this next flow is going to have some options for arm balances. If you don't make it into the arm balance, all good. We're going to have some playtime at the end. So just do your best. And like I said, have fun. When you're ready, downward facing dog. I'm going to get our feet to the top of the mat. So you step them in a little, bend the knees. If you wish to take a little handstand jump, maybe a little pike jump to get the feet all the way to the top, go for it. And we'll meet in Uttanasana, forward fold. Press down into the feet. Inhale, rise to stand, reach up. Hands to prayer. Heel toe your feet together. Chair pose with a twist. So we're going to hook the left elbow over the right thigh. Now I like to manually adjust myself here. So I use my right hand just to help me get a little deeper into the twists. Pull the hips back and down. Roll the right shoulder back. And then think of cobra in your upper back here. So first option, stay. Second option, side crow. I want your hands facing forwards though in your side crow, right? And then you can squeeze your heels, your ankles together to lift the legs. Maybe you might want to extend both legs. Hands are facing forwards. Why? Because this is going to prep us for where we're going. We're all going to meet back in our prayer twist. Pick up the left leg. Slowly extend it all the way back. We're in our twisted lunge. Drive the left thigh up. Hands to the floor, straighten through both legs and fold. So I'm on the ball of my back foot at the moment as I stretch through that front leg. Notice if you're rolling to the outer edge of the right foot. Really try to spread from your heel to the big toe mound, the pinky toe mound. Hop the back foot in a little, ground it down like you would for warrior one. Legs straight, hands to hips, come all the way up. So you want to make sure the right hip is drawing back, left hip is drawing forwards. Doesn't have to be perfect or look like mine or anything like that. How does it feel in your body? Reach the left arm up. And then we fold Parivrttaikapada, left hand either to the inside or the outside of the right foot. Reach the right arm up. So we're working to keep our hips pretty stable here. I don't mind if they move a little bit, particularly if you have any like issues with the SI joint. So it's not like they don't move at all, but we want the majority of the movement to come from the torso. Left hand's going to go out in front of the left shoulder, finding your revolved Ardha Chandrasana. Standing splits, both hands down. As you fold over your right leg, bend the left knee, open up through the hip. Your right knee can even be bent here. Just try to keep the heel down. Step the left foot all the way back, warrior two, come on up. Straighten through the front leg, turn the right toes in, hands to your hips. You're gonna lift the chest up. Exhale, fold. So either dolphin pose, forearms down. You could take a straddle dolphin or heel toe the feet in if you prefer. Or Sirsasana one, so you're interlacing the fingers, crown of the head down, and then straddling up. So whatever pose you're taking here, we're really working still the same principles, which is strength and stability through the shoulders. So if you're in Sirsasana one, very little weight in the head, maybe even none at all. Keep pressing the forearms down. Think of hollowing out through your underarms, of widening the upper back. If you're upside down, you're going to straddle the legs out and then come all the way into your wide-legged forward fold. Lift up halfway. Walk your hands to your right foot. Spin all 10 toes forwards. Three-legged dog. Sweep the right leg up and back. Right knee to your left upper arm. So you can take that little chaturanga move we've been doing, so extending the right leg out. Some of you coming into Ekapada one, the arm balance. So the right leg on the left arm. Now wrap your outer left hip down like you were still in plank position. If you're in Ekapada one, draw the left knee up towards your left upper arm. And then come into Ekapada two, extending the leg back, left leg forwards, straight through your vinyasa. If you're in your chaturanga or fallen triangle, taking it all the way back. So I know that was a little funky, a little different. You might need to hit pause, rewind, watch it, get an idea of what that move was all about. Just a fun way to play around. Bend the knees, inhale, look forwards, travel to the top of the mat. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, fold. Rise to stand, reach up. Hands to prayer. So just pause here for a moment. I know with side crow, we often do this thing where we say we're facing this direction, then we turn the hands. It's not that that's wrong. It's just if that's the only way you practice it, you're only teaching your body one way of doing something. So the reason why we're doing side crow with the hands facing forwards is because it's gonna then mimic what we're doing in our Ekapada Kundinyasanas, right? So it might feel a little different, but just go with it for a while. All right. Prayer twist, chair, hooking right elbow over left thigh. So again, I'm going to manually adjust myself here so I can get a little deeper into the twist. Hips are pulling back and down. So either staying here or hands to the floor, facing forwards. I'm bending the elbows, it's chaturanga, and then I'm squeezing my inner ankle bones together for Parivrttaikapada. Staying, or you can extend both legs out. Rebend the knees. We'll find our twisted chair pose. Weight into the left foot. You're going to pick up the right foot and slowly extend it all the way back. Hands to the floor, straighten through the left leg, and then fold. Spreading the weight through the whole of the left foot. I'm going to hop the right foot in a little like you would for warrior one, but both legs are straight. Hands to your hips and rise all the way up to stand. So you're drawing the left hip back, right hip forwards, reach the right arm up. We're going to fold once again for Parivrttaikapada. So those of you on a little more mobile, a little more bendy side, just make sure you're not overcorrecting yourself in these poses, because we tend to have that tendency, right? If you live in a body like mine, you can kind of overcorrect and then just take it too far in the other direction. So just, you know, maybe even use your left hand on your lower back to figure out what's going on there. Work the twist more in your upper back. Taking it into the balance, right arm out in front of you. Make sure it's about underneath the shoulder so it's not too close. Right leg lifts, and we continue to spiral the chest to the left. Standing splits, both hands down, fold your chest over your left leg. Right leg lifts up, bend that knee, allow the hip to open. Maybe even bend the left knee deeply. Keep the heel down though. Re-extend the right leg, step all the way back, warrior two. Straighten through the front leg, spin the left toes in. So a couple of options here. You can either interlace the hands, take a forward fold, and kind of continue to work into your forward fold stretching. If you want to repeat Sirsasana 1 or Dolphin, that's great. Other option here is tripod, maybe lowering into crow, lifting back up into tripod. Or if you feel up for it, you're going to take tripod into side crow the other side, right? So if you're in tripod, make sure you can see your fingers. Make sure your elbows are hugging in. You can bend the knees. And we're twisting, not the neck, never the neck. We're twisting the hips, twisting the upper back so that you can land. Maybe I'm going left knee to your right upper arm. I'm going to find the little arm balance here. And then I got to tuck my chin to my chest to get the head down. Lift the hips up to lift back up to tripod. Now one side's always more challenging than the other, so I'm going to bend the knees. I'm really going to twist, not the neck, the hips, the upper back. I'm going to gently place my right knee, thigh on my left arm. Find the arm balance. So I pull the head forwards. And then to come back, I tuck chin to chest, lift up. We're going to straddle all the way back down. Lift up halfway. Walk your hands to your left foot, spin all 10 toes forwards, three-legged dog, sweep the left leg up and back. So either into left knee to right upper arm, work your kind of Kundinasana prep. You can take fallen triangle, or maybe you're working your Kundinasana 1. Try to keep that outer right hip rolling down. If you want the transition, draw the right knee up, and then you gotta change it out so the right leg goes forwards, left leg goes back, and then back into Chaturanga. And downward facing dog. Release for a moment, shake out the wrists, the fingers. So I know that there was a lot in there, but given that this is an advanced practice, I know most of you have probably done Kundinasana 1 and 2 before. They generally, even though they're not easy, they're generally one of the first arm balances that you tend to learn. So I didn't want to spend a ton of time in this advanced practice teaching that particular shape. I kind of wanted to work on the transitions more. Now, having said that, we've got a little bit of playtime here. So if you're like, wow, I just need to work on my side crow. Or wow, I'm gonna work my Kundinasana twist to then re-extending the legs. You can take some time doing that. I know for some of you, you will have practiced this before with blocks underneath the shoulders. I think it's a good tool. I don't think you should rely on them all the time, right? So I'm not necessarily gonna add that in here. And of course, if you have any questions, you're gonna reach out to me and I might even do a tutorial for you. Okay, the final option, if you're like, I don't really wanna do arm balances anymore, is we're gonna do something that is kind of, look, I wouldn't ever teach it really in a studio class. I'm gonna backtrack. Remember when we were on our back and we were doing this, right? So we were keeping the body in a straight line from that left heel to the crown of the head. And I was saying to you when we were in this position that this is gonna be important for where we're going. And that's because where we're going is a split-legged twisted headstand. So just like when we were doing tripod into side crow and I said don't ever twist the neck, same thing here in your Sirsasana 1. All the pressure is through the forearms. Very little pressure going through the head or through the neck. And I want you to keep lengthening the neck. The twist is going to come from the hips and from the torso. Now, if that all just sounds too scary or you know that that's not for you, you've got plenty of other stuff to work on. Otherwise, you're going to come with me, and in fact, I'm going to face towards you so you have a better idea of what I'm doing. Okay, so you're going to set up for Sirsasana 1. And not that we should ever really rate our poses, but if you come up to Sirsasana 1 and you're like, wait a minute, my right arm's bugging me, or something like that, come back down and reset. And the reason for that is that because we're kind of adding on here, you really want to make sure that you're in a very, very controlled headstand. That there's nothing at all funky going on, that your shoulders feel super strong and super stable. Now, if you're coming with me, you're going to zip up through the inner thighs, through the inner ankles. And all you're going to do, remember, this is not coming from the neck, but it's kind of coming from the torso, from the hips. You're going to twist your body to the left. Keep trying to press down evenly through the forearms. Now, once you can't twist anymore, you're going to split the legs. So I've got right leg forwards, left leg back. So it's like you were kind of wringing yourself out. And with control, you'll bring the legs back together and then twist yourself back towards the center. And then we go the other way. Keep zipping up through the inner thighs. Twist to the right. Now, one way might be a little more challenging than the other. Once you can't twist anymore, split the legs. So left leg forward, right leg back. Maybe you get a little more twist in there once you separate the legs. You're going to lift the legs all the way back up, come back through center with control, lower, down. Please take a child's pose. When you're ready, come up to a seated position. We're going to take a straddle seat. It doesn't have to be super wide. And if you know your hamstrings are tight, you're going to sit up on the edge of a bolster or a block or something like that. So I'm going to be really interested to see what you guys think of that. Like I said, it's not something that gets taught a whole lot anymore, and it can be scary moving in headstand. So I'd really love to hear what you thought of it. We're going to add in a side bend. So right arm to the inside of the right leg. You could put it up on a block, reach the left arm over. You could always prop up your head with your right hand. Stretch out through that left side. And it's really challenging because when I first started practicing advanced classes back in London, headstand was featured a lot more than what it is in classes that I've taken in LA or even in Australia. And I understand the reason. You know, when you're teaching a group class, there's so many factors in the room, so many different people, body types, abilities, that even in an advanced setting, it's hard to kind of say, do this if you know how, because you know that people are going to give it a try anyway. But sometimes I do miss that kind of play that came with taking classes like that. And, you know, you have to be responsible for your own practice and how far you take something. Lift up if you haven't already. Left arm to the inside of the left leg, reaching up and over with the right arm. You're going to lift all the way back up. You can bring the legs together, shift forwards to the top of the mat, and then lie all the way down. I'm going to take 2 back bends here. So obviously your upper back is well and truly prepped for this after all that twisting and everything. So if you want to come straight into wheel, go for it. Others, you're going to be coming into bridge pose or any kind of variation of your back bend for today. I always find after a big twisting class, my back bends feel pretty freaking awesome, I'm not gonna lie. But that kind of deep work into the thoracic spine just means that when I come up into a big back bend like wheel or Urdhva Dhanurasana, there's a bit more space there. Maybe you feel that too. Now, if you need to break and come down in between your back bends, go for it. If you're staying up or adding on, I'm going to come into Parivrttaikapada Sirsasana, which I worked through the other week with you guys. Maybe you're practicing that. When you're ready to come out of your back bends, safely do so. Come all the way down onto your back. You can hug your knees into your chest. Now I know some of you love supine twists or something like that to finish the practice, so if that's you, you can go for it. I feel like I've done enough twisting today, so I'm going to finish and encourage you to try this as well if you like. Happy Baby is there for you as another option. Otherwise, come into Halasana, so the legs are up. I'm going to use my hands on the floor. Now, very little pressure, again in the neck. I'm on my shoulders. This is a nice forward fold. You could also use your hands just to support the lower back. Maybe even a little soft bend into the knees. And when you're ready to release, slowly make your way down. You can give your knees a final squeeze, a nice big hug. Maybe even drawing the forehead up to your kneecaps. Scrunch up your toes, your fingers, your face. Take an inhale. Sip in a little more air. Exhale, release, Shavasana. So you guys know this is where I leave you. Take as much time as you need in your Shavasana. Really enjoy the benefits of your practice. Otherwise, thank you so much for practicing with me. Make sure you get in touch if you have any questions or comments. Namaste.